Hi, this is John. Welcome to my channel. I am the author of 4 cookbooks, including my newest release, The Art of Butchery, Nose-to-Tail Cooking, which goes into great detail on how to break down and cook every bit of a carcass. I'm here today to talk about the book and show you some recipes. But before that, I want to take a moment to address a common concern people have with nose-to-tail cooking. Some people worry that they'll be eating things like the brain or the eyes when they hear nose-to-tail. And while it's true, those are parts of the animal that can be eaten, they're not the only parts. Nose to tail simply means using every part of the animal carcass. Nothing wasted. Today, we're going to debone and prepare pork shoulder for carnitas breakdown. Chicken carcasses into their component parts to make stock and flavorful broth, and even use those parts to make tasty dishes like chicken hearts in salsa matcha. We're going to see that nose to tail doesn't mean awful. It simply means using every part of the animal. Let's get started. One of my favorite recipes from the book comes at the beginning rather than the end. This is a modern take on an old technique called abattis. Abattis was used by French butchers in the early 19th century. They would take a pig's head and quarter it, then braise each of those sections until very tender. Then they would remove the skin, chop up the meat, and toss it all together with a vinaigrette. In my version of this recipe, I keep the skin on the pork belly and crisp it up like bacon so we can render some fat into the dish. As the belly cooks, it releases its juices and gradually becomes more tender. After an hour and a half, we're ready to finish. We cut the pork into small pieces and toss it all together with some crispy shallots and garlic. Finally, we'll pour the sauce on top and finish with some chopped parsley and crispy shallots. The result is tangy, fatty, and savory. It's almost like a deconstructed pork pie. To serve it, I'll spread some mustard on top of some crusty bread, then add a scoop of the pork mixture. Next, I'll top it with some of the sauce and finish with another scoop of the pork mixture. The whole thing is so rich and delicious and unlike anything I've ever tried before. If you want to try it yourself, look for the recipe online. Next up, we're making carnitas from pork shoulder. This recipe takes some time, but much of that time is inactive while the pork is braising. A good rule of thumb is to plan on 2 hours of active time and 4 hours of inactive time. First, we'll sear the pork shoulder on all sides over low heat. Do you rush this step, or you'll end up with a pan full of burnt bits instead of nicely browned pork? Once the pork is nicely browned, we'll transfer it to our Dutch oven and add a little water. Bring it to a boil, then cover and transfer it to a 325-degree oven. We'll cook the pork for 2 hours. At the halfway point, we'll flip the pork to make sure it browns on the other side. After 2 hours, we'll remove the pork from the pot and set it on a cutting board. Using a sharp knife, remove any excess fat or gristle from the surface of the meat. This will ensure that the pork crisps up properly in the final step. Now we'll put the pork back into the pot and return it to the oven where it will cook for another 2 hours. When the pork is done, we'll remove it from the pot and let it rest for 15 minutes. Then we'll shred it using 2 forks. Next, we'll fry the pork in neutral oil like canola or rice oil. We just want to crisp it up a little bit. The crispy bits will make a crunchy garnish for the finished dish, and the rendered fat will add extra richness to the carnitas finish with some chopped cilantro, chopped onion, and chopped lime, and serve with your favorite toppings. To round out this meal, I'm going to show you how to make chicken stock and then use it as a base for a simple soup. I'll start by showing you how to break down a chicken carcass. Once you've removed all of the meat, you'll notice there are still some large bones in the carcass. We're going to crack them to make a better chicken stock. To do that, place the carcass on a flat surface like a wooden cutting board or your countertop. Use a heavy object like a rolling pin and smash the carcass into small pieces. Slicing the carcass into smaller pieces exposes more surface area, resulting in a richer, more flavorful stock. Next, we'll place the carcass pieces into a large stock pot and cover them with cold water. Add salt, peppercorns, fresh thyme, some bay leaf, and a few carrots and celery stalks. Bring the liquid to a boil, then reduce the heat and simmer for 2 hours. Skim any foam that accumulates on the surface during cooking. After 2 hours, we'll strain the stock through a fine mesh, sieve lined with cheesecloth. Discard the solids and allow the stock to cool completely. Once it's cool, we can refrigerate it overnight. That way it'll be easier to remove the fat that solidifies on top. The next day, we'll skim the fat off the top, then transfer the stock to a bowl and it's ready to use. Now let's make a simple soup using the chicken stock. Heat some of the stock in a saucepan over medium heat. Once it reaches a simmer, add a tablespoon of tomato paste and cook for a minute or two until the raw tomato flavor dissipates. Next, add a cup of chopped carrots, a cup of chopped celery, a chopped yellow onion, and some salt and pepper. Continue to simmer until the vegetables soften, about 10 minutes. While the vegetables are softening, we'll cut some chicken hearts into quarters. Add the hearts to the soup and continue to simmer until the chicken is cooked through. To finish, Add some chopped fresh thyme and a squeeze of lemon juice. Taste and adjust seasoning. For an extra rich soup, you can add some of the crispy bacon fat we reserved earlier. Serve hot and enjoy. Next, we're making chicken livers in salsa macha. These are a true nose-to-tail dish. Salsa macha is a chunky, vibrant sauce made from dried chiles, toasted sesame seeds, garlic, and salt. We're going to toss chicken livers in the sauce to coat them, then fry them in neutral oil like canola oil. When the livers are nearly cooked through, we'll remove them from the pan and finish the sauce in the same pan. The result is so flavorful and delicious. Once the sauce is thickening, we'll return the chicken livers to the pan. Cook them through and finish with some chopped cilantro. Serve and enjoy. In the book, I share lots of techniques and recipes for preparing game meats like duck, venison, and rabbit. I also go into great detail on how to break down and cook beef, lamb, and pork. My goal was to include everything home cooks need to know to prepare nose to tail. Every recipe includes step-by-step instructions and beautiful photography to guide you through the process. I wanted to include approachable, flavorful recipes that anyone could make. These are recipes for weeknight meals, not special occasions. I'm excited for people to try these recipes and hopefully gain confidence in the kitchen. I hope you check out the book. Thanks for watching.